A cafe conversation. A cafe conversation. It's a cafe conversation in the ladies' room. 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 A cafe conversation in the ladies' room.
Good evening, and welcome to Cafe Conversations with the Ladies Room. I'm your host, Cherise, and my co-host,
Samantha, aka Juicy.
Samantha.
Yes. We're back.
It's
Miss
Thursday.
Juicy.
Yes, Miss Juicy.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be in the cafe, especially because it's raining.
We
Especially 'cause
inside,
it's
not
raining.
outside.
We're inside,
It's
exactly.
just raining.
But that's okay, because even with the rain, being inside, and
The
stuff
sun
like
is
that.
shining.
That's what I'm saying. The sun is always shining.
Yes,
You have
yes.
such a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you.
And when she
thank you.
smiles, it's like,
The sun comes out.
You know that is so
I'm
funny.
loving
I
it.
just
I'm loving it.
sometimes I be like, because
nah. Please let the smile, let
Come
it
in.
show.
Let it come on
shine
in.
Because you never know. Your smile, it's infectious, and you never know who needs it.
That's right.
True.
You never know who
That's
needs
right.
it. So
right.
I say smile, but
somebody out there might see me.
there you go. There you
Who
go.
knows?
Well,
It's like that. It was that smile.
Yeah.
That one. Juicy.
Yeah. Not a man though. My husband will kill me.
Exactly. So
okay.
that's why you gotta be careful. You gotta be.
You know?
Gotta be.
Let me make that
you don't
clear.
want to be. You don't want to smile too much.
Let me
You'll
make
be
that
like,
clear.
I'm
Exactly.
married.
There you
Well,
go.
okay.
There you go.
Welcome back to the cafe. We are so happy you all made it. We're happy we made it. We have a show tonight that you want to watch. You want to watch. They're going to want to watch. You know why?
That's right.
Because it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's the elephant in the room. And I mean, it's like, I'm talking Dumbo size, big ears, really, really fat, all that kind of stuff. It's that kind of elephant.
Oh wow.
And stuff. And we're going to address the elephant in the room tonight.
It's not
You
a
know
baby
why?
elephant either.
No,
It's
it's
a big
not
one.
a baby elephant. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
This is some real adult stuff.
Okay.
And it's gonna get us talking. It's gonna get us thinking. And we're gonna address a topic that really affects us. It affects us as a community. It affects us as women. It affects us as sisters, as family. It affects our children. It affects our relationships.
Yes.
So it's time for us to address the situation of colorism. Because that's with us. That's
Right.
not somebody doing that to us. That's us
That's
doing
us.
that to us.
This is true. This is
And
true.
we need to understand why we're doing this to ourselves. We want to know why it is that this is happening in our communities. Why is this happening amongst us?
In our
where we
families.
should be our family, our genders, And we got a lot to talk about. So tonight's conversation, tonight's topic, does the brown paper bag test still exist?
Girl.
I'm looking
What's
at
that?
paper bag.
Does
What's
the
that?
brown paper bag test?
Yeah, that's the
still
first time I'm
exists?
hearing about it.
I mean, I
Okay.
know, but
And I know there's a lot of people who's probably like, what's the brown paper bag test? So I'm going to give you a little background information on our topic tonight, just to kind of get your wheels turning as usual. I like to give you a little bit to think about. So I'll give you this. The brown paper bag test is a term in African American oral history to describe a colorist discriminatory practice against people of color in the 19th and 20th century, where those with visible Eurocentric features, specifically skin tones equal to or lighter than the color of a brown paper bag were allowed privileges unavailable to darker skinned individuals. When discussing colorism, it is important to be aware that colorism is referred to as only being an issue in the black community. And while it manifests there, it is more widespread and exists within all communities of color. Colorism is not something white people experience.
Right. Okay.
Okay? So, with that, I want to say this. For those of our friends and our guests in the cafe who may be Caucasian, what we want you to understand is this is not a hate show. This is not a show about racism. This is not a show about you. This is a show about us. This is a show about how we can grow as a unit, as a family, as a community. Okay? And this show is not done because we hate you. This show is done because we love us. Okay? I just want to put that out there. So if you are watching, please do so with an open mind and a big heart so that you can learn what it is our concerns are, okay, within our community, and use that to build better functional relationships with women and men of color.
That's right.
Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
And share the show if you can.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
I'm doing now.
absolutely.
I'm trying to share it.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I have a question, ladies.
I'm listening.
Define beauty. And I'm gonna go.
Take my glasses off.
We're gonna let Miss
Lord.
Carlotta. Miss Carlotta, we're gonna let you go
You
first.
gonna let me go first? Okay.
Define beauty for me.
My definition of beauty might not match what they have in the Webster dictionary, because for beauty for me it starts in the inside and not the outside. We have a habit of believing that beauty is here. The skin deep, is that what it is? Skin deep, where it's just what you see. But beauty starts within. It's that person that you see that lights up a room, like Miss Juicy. I love calling her that. I hope that's not help you.
I'm all right.
No, but
Good.
but for real, like Samantha, when you see her, that smile. When I see her smile on Facebook, it lights me up. It brings sunshine to my day, because that's the beauty on the inside of her, coming without of her.
Right.
When you meet a person that's always, not always, but when they greet you, you can feel their energy. You can feel their spirit. It interacts with you. It attaches onto you, and it's not that hard spirit where you're feeling like every time you see that person, oh no, beauty is when you see a child. It's like seeing a child playing. When they stop playing, when they stop, they see you, they come running. That's beauty for me on the inside.
Okay.
So when a person sees you, they stop. They're like, you. That's beauty. Not just the skin deep.
Gotcha. Aisha, tell me, what's your definition of beauty?
I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can find beauty anywhere. It can be whether it's skin deep or whether it's deeper, and I think that, just like you were talking about radiating, people radiate that beauty from
Yes.
within. So, of course, that's always noticed as well. So, but I do think that we as individuals can find beauty in anything and everything.
Oh yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be what the media tells us is beauty, right? So, talking about, let's say, giving us a Barbie doll when we're younger, telling us this is the ideal, right? This is the doll that's perfect with the blonde hair, blue eyes, tiny little waist. And we're young looking at these dolls and saying, well, I don't look like that. I know when I played with Barbies, I didn't think I was beautiful because I'm playing with a beautiful doll, right? And I'm being conditioned to believe that this is the definition of beauty. So it's what we're conditioned, right? And then as you get older and you understand beauty in your own way, you see it as you see it. And that could be in anything. I mean, there's beauty all over the world.
Absolutely. Miss Samantha,
Yes, ma'am.
your definition of beauty.
Well, my definition of beauty is, of course, similar to what was already said. But I do think that beauty is many qualities in a person. Children, for instance, they don't see beauty. They see the quality of the person that's around them, that's taking care of them, that says hello to them. They see beauty that way. Their friends, they don't see any color. They don't see any flaws. They only see what you bring them. If it's nice, they like you. If it's not nice, they don't. So I think that beauty has several qualities. One of them can be visual because obviously if you have sight, you see that beauty. People with no sight, of course, can't see it. But again, they have to see
feel it.
beauty in what they hear and what
they feel.
beauty to me comes in a lot of different ways and a lot of different qualities, and it of course starts from the inside. A lot of people think what you feel inside or what you have inside is what shows. So beauty can also be in all shapes, colors, sizes. Beauty to one person is not the beauty to another, and beauty is all different things, but again, it starts, I think, inside.
Yes.
So, what physical traits do you ladies think makes you beautiful?
See.
I can't physical traits are different for everyone to make a person feel that they're beautiful. When personally you have to love yourself for your physical
That's right.
to feel beautiful, or you're always going to feel like you're not,
Right.
which is half the world. But
So,
physical beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
so what you're saying is that people don't look at physical traits to
They do.
determine beauty.
They do.
They're looking at what's in the person.
No, people do see physical beauty. They see physical beauty, but I can't describe physical beauty for anyone because, like, for instance, back to my old husband, he likes thick girls. He doesn't like thin women. Well, he does. Don't get it twisted, but he prefers them thick.
It's a
So
different
thick
topic
is gonna be
altogether.
beautiful to him.
So that's a physical trait.
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
that's a
saying.
physical trait.
Right, but I can't describe that for everybody. It's
right.
in the eye of the beholder.
No,
No.
I'm asking your personal opinion.
Glowing skin.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, I don't care what color, shape, size you are. You have glowing skin, you're beautiful to me.
Wow.
Wow. My daughter tells me that all the time. She's like, "Your skin is always glowing, Ma," and I don't feel that. I'm like, I'm not feeling that. I hear you, but my skin is hurting right now.
What's
But,
considered a beautiful trait to you?
I don't
Like
know.
what physically? What's a beauty? What constitutes beauty physically?
Physically, for me, eyes.
Okay.
I love eyes. I love when you look into someone's eyes, you could see who
A
they
lot.
are.
You
can
can see a
their
lot.
energy. You can see their spirit. You can see you can see everything about them. So when I talk to people, I like to look in their eyes. Some people don't look at you
Right.
because their spirit might be dark and deep, and you can tell when someone's spirit is just not right. But when you look into those eyes, some people even that have dark, this is my experience. When I look at them, even with a dark spirit, you can find the beauty in that person, because beauty is, like she said, is in the eyes of the beholder, which is Abba. He's the one that started the beauty. He's the one that gave us the beauty on the inside first. So it dwells there. It's just for us to tap into it. And when we don't tap into it, we don't know it's there. We can't see it. But
Gotcha.
someone else that has already tapped into it, that knows the beauty of God, knows the beauty of Abba, I call him Abba, can see the beauty in someone, even if people say, nah, that's a dark person.
Well, I'm gonna say
Wow.
then that how I'm treated by somebody tells me that person is beautiful.
Ah,
Because
I like that. I like that.
I mean, I can't describe it any other way, because someone, like I said, physically, like eyes and nose and mouth and all of that, I don't even see that sometimes when I'm, because I'm very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
I like people. So if you treat me nice, we good. You're beautiful.
And
Mm-hmm.
So,
Amen.
Amen. And amen.
so one of our guests in the cafe. Hey, everybody in the cafe! Thanks for
Hey.
joining us tonight for the show.
Hey, Trish.
We did get some answers about smile, eyes, teeth.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: what makes a person unattractive? What traits would be considered unattractive?
I'm gonna
What
go first.
physical traits?
I'm gonna go
would be
first.
considered
Go first.
unattractive?
I'm gonna tell you that treatment. People tell you who they are by how they treat each other. People tell you who they are by how they treat you. When you treat people ugly, you're ugly. You don't have to appear to look ugly. You you know, my husband's daughter, who is passed on now, she had something called neurofibromatosis. If anyone knows what that is, you have moles. They're cancer, but it's all over your body. Some people don't have it all over, but she had it all over her body. She was still beautiful. She was a good person. She was a nice person. Somebody else may look at her and feel that she's unattractive, but she was not, and was not to me. We loved her like all the rest of the kids.
But what physical traits do you find unattractive? And I'll explain to you why I'm asking this question.
Yeah, I can.
Physically, what's physically unattractive about a person, or what would be considered physically unattractive?
I
about
don't
a
have it.
person?
I don't have that inside of me to say. I really don't. My husband's a below the knee amputee. Is that ugly? No. You know what I'm saying? I know physical things that are unattractive to other people. That doesn't touch me.
Right.
It doesn't touch me. It doesn't move me. You could be whoever you are, however you are. How you treat me makes you beautiful or ugly.
I think we could tie that question to maybe even hygiene. Like if someone doesn't
True.
like take
was
care of
about to say
themselves, or if you're not brushing your teeth and you have bad teeth,
Yes.
that's unattractive. You could be a good person and have bad teeth.
Yes,
Bad breath, bad
breath.
true
yes.
that.
Your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even though your teeth, might be crooked, they look crazy. But if you're taking care of your mouth, if you're brushing your teeth, if you're doing the oral hygiene like you
Yeah.
should, it doesn't matter if your teeth are crooked as long as it smells okay. Because you don't want
Well,
to
I
that
talk to the
person.
bums in the street, New York City Transit.
I'm not
I'm
mad at
just
you.
saying. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, because that can get a little scary.
So, does skin color play a part in a person's attractiveness?
I'm gonna say this. I'm a twin. I have a male twin, and he's darker than me, extremely darker. And when we were kids, and we grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, so of course we didn't get the good treatment. We didn't get treated well. But he got the butt of the treatment because of his dark skin, because he was so dark, and I was jealous as a kid, because I'm like, well, both my parents are dark, my brother's dark, but I got this.
I got lighter.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what's up with that? Why I am not dark? Why I don't have dark skin? And it caused an issue with me as I got older, because instead of dating what I liked, being with what I liked as becoming older, I dated the opposite.
Oh,
So I
wow.
dated a Hispanic guy. I
A
had children
light-skinned
for
one?
light
'Cause
skin.
there's dark
very,
ones.
No, I have very light skin. My daughters are bright white.
Wow.
It is what it is. But that was something that attracted to me. So I attracted to that. But as I got older and more wiser, and finding who I am as a woman, I wanted I wanted to date a dark guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, because my father's dark, my brother's dark. That, that skin, that color it was something for me. And so I don't know if I'm in the category of colorism. I just love every shade of who we are, because it defines who we are, as African Americans, but as who we are as a person is on the inside. It ain't on the outside.
So did anybody ever say the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice?
All the time.
Yes.
All the time. All the time. And I said, no, I don't agree. Because I like all the berries. Oh, wait, let me be.
All right.
So,
You can't dress up ugliness, somebody said.
in the 19th, 20th centuries, people of color were compared to a brown paper bag. And if you notice, I'm significantly darker than this brown paper bag.
Absolutely.
And I would have been denied certain privileges as a
Absolutely.
result of me being darker than this brown paper bag. Some examples of that. We can go back to some colleges. Sadly, historically black colleges, okay, who used this brown paper bag test to decide who got into certain clubs
Wow.
or activities,
Right.
who got jobs, and how much you got paid was based on
Color.
the hue of your skin compared to this brown paper bag.
Wow.
Do you ladies believe that it's any different today?
I mean, there are certain laws I know in place where, discrimination laws and things like that. So I don't think it's happening so openly. However, it still exists.
Oh,
There's favoritism. There's,
definitely.
preference. I mean, when we get deeper in the show, I want to share my experience coming from the Indian culture, Indian background, and what I went through.
I want to hear that.
Because that's huge in India and Pakistan and
Being
the South
light
Asian.
or being dark?
Well, just
Because you're
colorism. Oh no, I am not. The family that I come from. So my sisters who are older than me, they're much lighter. They're milk white, as they're described as milk white,
Right.
Right.
and they're spoken
So-
of. And so I'm the dark one.
Right, but my experiences of Indian culture are that they are darker skinned. So that's why I questioned, were you discriminated or colorism?
Oh no, I was discriminated within my family. I mean, even inside my family, I was discriminated.
Because
being
of the
light
darkest
Of
or
being the dark,
being
being
the darker
dark,
one.
having the
being
At
the
your
darker
tone.
one
Oh, yeah.
at my tone.
So what happened? Well, I don't
Yeah.
want to take. I don't want the show to go any
It's-
off track.
No,
but
Yeah.
and this is within.
but am I wrong that most of Indian culture is dark, or no?
So the way that India and Pakistan is, so the northern part of it, they, even though the countries sit on the equator, they still get snow.
Okay.
So there's mountains. There's K2 in Pakistan.
So there's
So
lighter
a
people.
lot of people from or all of the north, let's say, or most of the north is much fairer in skin.
Right.
Even light colored eyes. I'm
Right.
sure there's some kind of migration.
Right.
But so there's a healthy blend in a sense. But yeah, I would say I think that the Indian skin tone is brown,
Right.
right, on average.
Right.
But that is not favored. If you are considered cream of the crop if you're light skin toned. Now, my two older sisters, they even when they were born, they were described as they're whiter than milk. That was the expression. They're whiter than milk. When my daughter was born, I would never describe her color as that.
Right.
But I remember my mom on the phone with my dad. You know, grandma, she's whiter than milk.
Yeah, because that's
You know,
culturally what you
right?
know, what they know. Yeah.
And so, you know, just speaking on my experience, when I was growing up, I was very young, and I remember this one particular time when we went apple picking. This was in Pakistan. Went apple picking. My mom asked me to take a basket of apples to my neighbor's house. I went, knocked on the door. Some random lady came out. I'm not sure if it was the homeowner or the neighbor or whatever, but she comes out and she says, "Oh, whose daughter are you?" And I told her my mom's name, and she says, "That's strange." She's like, "Your sisters are so light. What happened to you?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to you? You can't be her daughter." And it made me feel so sad because I felt like, A, I did something wrong, or is there something wrong with me, right? I was very young. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And then, even within my family, you know, they were going to an event. The Only the light girls got to go. Like yeah, my cousins, they're also very light. My sisters are light. I didn't get to go, and I was told when I questioned it, like, why can't I go? And I was told, because you're not light, you're not pretty enough to go. Only the pretty girls get to go.
Wow.
I
So
know.
Wow.
light meant pretty, and they
Yeah.
really told you that.
And they
in your
told me that.
family, in your house.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and before we move on, we have a question from one of the guests in the cafe,
Who
in
invented-
reference to the brown paper bag test. Who invented the test originally? So, from what I found, it says that one of the first forms of colorism was the white slave owners deciding that only the light-skinned slaves would work in the house,
Right.
while the darker ones were subjected to the harsh conditions of the field.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and apparently this spilled over into our generations, where now we were competing, you know, for attention. We were competing for acceptance, you know, and what happened is that notion transcended over to those light-skinned blacks who were in the house, you know, feeling like they now were superior to those darker-skinned slaves who were in the field.
Absolutely.
And so, generation after generation after generation, we now here we are in 2021, and we still have that separation of light-skinned black,
That's true.
dark-skinned black,
true.
you know,
That's true.
light-skinned Hispanic, dark-skinned Hispanic, you know, and it's funny because not funny in the sense that I want to laugh about it, but funny because if we began to realize that we are still all one and the same,
That's right.
the struggle, regardless of how light your skin is, as a person of color, you're still a person of color.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
and that kind of brings me into my next question: is, has any of you ever been either afforded or denied a privilege as a result of your skin tone, you know, or your children, your family, your husband, your friends, anyone that you know? Do you know of any situations? And I'm gonna ask those in the cafe also, if you want to share your story tonight, please call us. Phone lines are open. You can reach us at 570-731-3060. Call us. Tell us your story. We want to hear back from you, because we want to know how you've experienced colorism in either your childhood or adulthood. You know, has it affected your job, or how, you know, you're able to move up the ladder of success? You know, did it affect you getting an apartment? You know what I'm saying?
I
Or
know.
friendship. How about your relationships?
Right.
You know, so please call in, let us know, you know, what you're thinking.
I know
But-
my children. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No problem.
But my children, my two oldest daughters, of course, I married he was Dominican, and he was lighter, much lighter, like what you say, milky white. And so my children came out. My two older daughters came out. So we moved into the same area where I grew up at in the projects, on a different side. And I would send them outside to play. You know, Mom's gonna come out. I send them out. They would come running in. And this one time they came running in. They were just crying. And they said, the kids outside called us white. They said, "Why is your mommy black and you're white?" And it hurt them because they're like, "Well, you know, our father is white." And I'm like, "Your father's not white. He's Dominican. He's Hispanic. He's of African descent." I had to explain that to her, but to both of them. But they just didn't understand that, and this went on for a long time. Every time they went out, white girls, you know, they would call them, you know, your parents don't match. They don't look right. You know, your daddy's white, your mommy's black. You know, they made fun of them. It was a horrible behavior that they went through. But after a while, when other African Americans and Hispanics started to move in the area, then they saw something different. Now they see that the Hispanics that are your color, Aisha, and they're a little bit darker, and now they're like, well, how's that possible? Well, you need a history lesson. This is something that our kids need to learn in school that they don't teach. They just teach the basics of, okay, either you're black or you're white, and nothing in between. No Latino, Indian, even in what I learned, even in the Asian country like Japan and China, the Philippines, they have dark-skinned people there.
Yeah.
We don't think it. You go to Panama, you go to Colombia, you go to the deepest, darkest parts of Italy, and you see us.
That's right.
You don't see white skin, and they don't. That's the stuff that they don't teach them in school. I mean, I've taught it to my own, but that's where colorism.
You know,
that's
it's
how
funny that you mentioned that, because one of the things that I always thought about Egypt, for example, is that it's an Arab country with people who have, let's say, my skin tone, brown skin tone. You go to Egypt, every other person is black.
Yeah.
It is a black
Absolutely.
nation.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And they don't
Say
teach us
so.
this.
That's
They don't
right.
tell us
They
this.
don't.
So it's unfair. And I kind of just wanted to go back to what you were talking about the generations of conditioning, and how, it's like one of those things. And I could only, and I've sort of touched this subject with my older sisters, because they did live a life of privilege, I'm not saying I didn't have the privilege, and I'm just talking about in the family, not outside of the family. They were favored. They had more hands asking for them in marriage, absolutely lined out the door because of their skin tone. 100%. That's a big thing. But what I want to touch on is it comes from not just internally but externally too. So it's not just our families or us believing, oh, because we're light skinned, right? Or someone who's light skinned black, for example. Maybe they were favored upon, but it's also external. Like, let's take the makeup industry. How they
Yes.
only cater up till this point. I'm talking about very,
Say
very
it.
recently.
Say it.
Very
Say it.
recently.
Yep.
This whole makeup bubble, the whole Instagram, everybody putting on makeup and trying on, makeup tutorials. Until then, the only shades were ivory, and maybe tan.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. She's telling it.
So, we're conditioned to think that's beauty. So I can't go and find, a
Anything
matching
darker.
foundation.
Right.
Wow.
So these are privileges that, lighter skin tone had. And that's why it was made to be like, European beauty.
Right.
Right.
Beauty was, defined as European beauty. No, my afro is just as beautiful as your silky white hair, blonde hair.
Straight hair, yeah.
100%.
Right. That's
Right.
why
And
I
I
feel,
gotta tell you, I have to give it to the artist. I'm so sorry,
No,
honey, but I have to give it to the artists that, like, the singers like Beyonce that came and said, no, not the Barbie figure, my thick thighs, and
Right.
that's gonna be
Say
considered
it
beautiful.
again.
Absolutely, unapologetically.
Yeah.
And we gotta be that change.
Yeah.
We have to stand and
That's why I think colorism, like racism, is taught. It's taught because kids don't know that when they're young, and when they get that play age where they're outside with one another and
Oh,
they
yeah.
start to call names to each other. That's because
Yes.
inside their house
They learned it at home.
they learned it.
Because my children didn't know that.
Right.
They didn't see the difference.
That's why I say
Yeah.
that unapologetically, because
Yeah.
in my mother was very fair as well, and me and my sister used to say, why we didn't come out like you. And she never mentioned color when she answered us. She said to us, you're exactly like me because I made you.
That's right.
But she never said, I'm light, I'm dark, it doesn't matter. She
Right.
never talked
Bless her.
color.
Right.
Never, ever said a word about color. She knew what we were talking about,
Right.
but she didn't mention it because that's not important.
Right.
there you
My
go.
mother gave birth to us. We are like her.
That's right.
Everybody looks different, but we are of each other. My father's light too, but he's darker than my mom. And my grandmother, my father's mother, very, very fair, because her father's Cuban.
Cuban.
And she was one of those, you ain't black. Don't let anybody call you black. So we would be like, well, what are we supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
And, grew up that way.
So, if I say to you, your light skinned family members, or let's say those that you knew who were of lighter skin that got more attention,
Mm-hmm.
your sisters, for instance, had more suitors vying for
Suitors.
them. Yeah,
More
suitors. People
men-
who want to
Marry,
court them,
court
marry
them,
them.
yep.
Like those are your suitors.
I know.
You know.
I was just making a funny because
Oh.
that's, it's a very nice word. They have more men friends. Nah, go ahead.
Not
Coming
mad
at
at you.
them.
Not bad.
Had more suitors. If I said that was a result of pretty privilege, what would you say pretty privilege is? And would you agree that that was a result of pretty privilege?
Well, even today, there are men of darker complexioned, whether they're Hispanic, Black, Indian, they like fair-skinned women.
And they sing about it.
And they sing about it, and they like it, and
They talk
that's what they
about it.
prefer.
That's what they want.
And they want long hair, straight hair. They want,
Pretty privilege.
and it's, it's unfortunate because there's beauty again in everyone. But if you want to see what beauty is, and that's what you see, that's what you like, and that's what you pick.
But I'm talking about the physical attributes, because
Right.
before you even have a conversation with someone to know they're beautiful on the inside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying they like that light skin.
Many cases, the first thing people see and learn about you is your light skin, dark skin.
in
you
between.
Yeah, you know what
Right,
I'm saying? Along the spectrum. You're
Heavy
heavy
set,
set or
thin,
thin.
right.
You're short, tall. You
Right.
know, they
Right.
see your physical attributes
Right.
before they see
Anything
from
else.
the
Inside
Right.
what they
you know
hear.
what I'm saying? But in terms of skin color, because colorism deals with our skin color,
Correct.
it deals with the simple fact that in our community, your lighter skin would probably grant you more favor than my darker skin.
And you don't even
You
know it
know?
because you don't consider yourself
No,
light.
not
lighter skin.
because of my experience.
That's correct.
Right. So, pretty privilege, and I'll define it for
it,
those
yeah.
who don't know what pretty privilege is. In a nutshell, we all have heard that attractive people are almost always better competitors in job interviews than their less attractive counterparts. According to an article by Alana Akhtar and Drake Bear in The Insider, Research shows pretty people are viewed as healthier, more persuasive, make more money, are more friendly, they're happier. Even if the person judging all of these attributes knows nothing at all about the person, people tend to believe it. Why is that? Just based on, or why do you think that is? Just based on your skin tone, on their skin tone.
Because people have a warped perception of what people look like. And looking like something is not your physical. Looking, because you look beautiful, like it says what you just read, without knowing anything about a person, they automatically think that person's healthier, prettier, smarter. What that it doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the inside. And when you're warped about stuff like that, when you're ignorant to the fact, this is where you see that what you see is what you want to see. You want to see that light-skinned girl being healthier, beautiful, prettier. What's the phrase that it is? Pretty privilege.
privilege?
You want that on that person, but you can be very ill and look pretty. You can physically present yourself and without knowing a person, not know the person's sick or ill. That's why I'm saying it's an ignorant thing to even think that way, and that's how people think.
But someone else might say it's not ignorance if, you know, okay, so if I was light skinned and I was always told I was pretty, I was always given favor, you know, I had friends, I was popular, I got chosen in the class, the teachers loved me. And this is something, this privilege has been mine since,
From little.
birth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've grown up into my pretty privilege, and I've learned to use it to my advantage.
Right.
And someone else recognizes or looks at me and says, "Yes, you are the epitome of beauty. You are what I consider beautiful."
Right.
And all like that. I mean, is that really ignorance on the other person's part because they consider that beautiful and they accept it?
I think that we're all allowed to have preference. I mean, I can sit here and say, hey, for me, I prefer the darker the skin. I
like
find
that.
honestly, I find it very, very, very attractive. Yeah, the dark
too.
chocolate all the way.
Yes.
Yes.
Better stop playing.
But so we're allowed to have preferences. There's, nothing wrong with that. But I think when we start to define it with such a finite, you know what I mean? Like we're forcing it. That's where I think we come with all of these issues of, favoritism and, I mean, just on a lighter positive note, I don't know why, but I remember receiving a magazine and seeing like, a black woman on the cover and, it was Victoria's Secret. And I'm just like, we've changed. We've come far. We've come so far. Before it used to just be, the thin,
Thin, milky
very
white.
pale,
You're
pale,
absolutely right.
right? Maybe they were tan because, that's, I'm just saying,
Right.
like, just however they define their beauty, but skinny. This was a very normal looking person, the average person, the way we all look, not, these angels walking on stage. But so we've come.
So do you think colorism is not as prevalent today as it was before? Or,
I think that there is a wave, there's a revolution that's happening, and BLM is one of the, a big movement. It's a huge movement, and there's change that's coming. It's a wave. Honestly,
I feel the change coming.
Yeah.
It's not as quick as we would like it to be, but I do feel the change as far as colorism, because we're starting to come out of okay, so you're light skin, you're dark skin, you're black skin, you're black. We're coming out of that. Instead of doing that, for me, this is my circle that I have created. I don't see the lighter skin more beautiful than the darker skin. I address them all at the same time. Queen, hey queen, you're so beautiful. Hey queen, doesn't matter. Even the milky white color, I do the same. Sorry. So what I wanted to say was, and to piggyback on the magazine, because I was going to talk about um, the models, because for many years as a kid, all I saw was a Caucasian woman on a magazine. I've never seen a black woman on a magazine until, like, we got the BET, the Jet magazine. We started seeing the Jet magazine. We started seeing the teen magazines for us. But
Essence, Ebony.
at the Essence Ebony, but still, at that time when we were seeing those things, we didn't see the darker skin. It was still the lighter skin.
Can I interject?
Yeah,
Can I tell
sure.
you what I saw on TV? They literally said that the reason why we don't put black models on the magazines because they don't sell.
Yeah, they said
magazines
that. They
don't
did.
sell.
It's true. It's true. They see the
But
darker and they don't
why?
want to pick it up.
This is why
But this is her
normalizing,
question,
right?
This is your
Right.
question.
So
Right.
this,
Why do you think
It-
people
it's-
feel this way or do this?
right.
Yeah.
So now that we are on this wave of change, it's starting to normalize where you can see a magazine with an imperfect looking person. I don't
Absolutely.
care of color. It could be, any color with a real body, not this
Yes.
stick figure, right?
Right.
So normalizing it is
Mm-hmm.
conditioning us to see it as beauty.
Right.
But if you're only just showing us white models,
Right.
then that's all we're gonna
Yes.
But that's what
expect and-
media does.
Yep.
It is to control
Mm-hmm.
us and condition us to
Right.
what they want us to
Correct.
It's a
see
long time
and
coming.
believe.
Yep.
And now that it's changing a little
Right.
bit,
And it is changing.
they're still doing it.
Mhm.
They're doing it, with the virus. They're doing it with
Right,
everything. They're
right.
telling us things to condition us
Right.
to believe what they want us to believe.
They have to.
But-
Because they don't want to. They don't want the change.
You have to, again, if it's knowledgeable in the home, you have to teach it there because
That's
it
right.
starts there. Now, when there's prejudice and colorism in the home, it's hard. You have
Yes.
to learn it on your own. You have to
Yes.
come out and experience it. And depending on where you live, it's very difficult.
Right.
But
I know
again,
there.
I don't know to that question, I guess, why people do it. Either they're conditioned to think that way. I still stand on ignorance.
Oh,
You don't have to,
I
but
don't want to say it's so much as ignorance because we know better.
some
We
people
do.
don't.
I believe they do. They just choose not to deal with it. They choose
it-
to put it to the side. They say, "Oh well, I know about this, but you know what? I'm gonna put it over there." That's how that. And I've seen it. I've seen that behavior, and
I
that's
have
like
too.
that's like really. That's what we doing. That's how we treating each other. Just because because
So
this
what,
person.
what
was,
is that? What is that when someone knows
Mm-hmm.
and chooses to ignore it and say, I'm still going to act like this, even though I know my part over here is that.
I mean, they're making a choice. I mean, just as
I don't think it's deeper than a choice.
I don't know. I mean, okay. I mean, I
That's
give you
just my
everybody's-
opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
It's deeper than a choice because
just-
ain't no way in heck
okay. So
you know
my thought is
something.
this.
and
and then you
you
My thought-
choose to.
my
I'm
thought
sorry,
is-
go ahead.
That's okay. My thought is this. So I believe a lot of the colorism that happens in our communities is very much fueled and facilitated by media.
Right.
Okay. And yes, I do believe that we have seen a spike in the presentation of the beautiful black woman. Okay. I also believe that we're being appeased to a certain extent so that
Right.
we don't make too much noise. And the reason I say that, okay, and you may not agree with me, okay, but the reason I say that is because now what you see is there
That's
was a point where we were trying to highlight the beautiful black family, okay, and mom, dad, children, we all looked alike.
The Huxtables.
You know what I'm saying? We all
know?
looked alike and like that. And now, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that integration has not happened, and the blending of our skin tones has not happened, you know. But it's as if it's being normalized, to see a white male, black woman, mixed child. And the representation, most representations right now of beautiful black women are
Mixed
the
races.
lighter skin,
The mixed
mixed
skin.
race
Mixed
woman
race.
with the curly hair.
Right.
You know what
Exotic.
I'm saying? The slender nose. Okay. The children with that same lighter curly hair. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of giving me like
Bad taste.
we're showing you, we're showing you black people. What are you complaining about? Shut up. Stop crying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like it's just appeasing us so that we don't make too much more of a stink about, putting beautiful women like Lupita on the cover.
She's beautiful.
I love her.
She is beautiful.
I love her. Like,
Her skin.
part of the questions that I was, kind of asking or trying to get at was that when you have that, it's funny. There was a study that was done, and there was a study done, and it was with Lupita and Halle Berry, I believe it was. Okay, and they both were nominated for, I think it was Tony. I think it was Tony. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I do apologize. But whatever it was, they were being nominated, and they both won this award.
Wow.
But what the study found was Lupita still got paid less than Halle
Halle
did.
Berry. Yeah.
Okay,
Halle has a white mom
and lighter skin.
and lighter
Be
skin.
quiet.
You understand what I'm saying? So, and don't get me wrong, my mom, my boys are actually lighter than you.
Yes.
My boys are lighter than you. Their father's Dominican.
Yeah, I have 2 children
Looks
that
white.
are like that. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I have 7 children, and I believe I have all the colors.
That's
Because I have
beautiful.
I have 2 dark sons, 2 dark children. I got 1 daughter that's dark. I have a son that's dark. I have 3 dark children, and then the rest are all that lighter skin, except for the 2 older daughters, which are almost milky white.
And
my-
have you
yeah.
and have you found that there's a difference in how people maybe relate to your children?
Yes, absolutely.
Because of
And within them.
and not making it very obvious
And
that
not
it's their
so
skin
obvious.
colors,
Exactly.
but it's very subtle and you can notice.
It's in my household.
it
The
happened to
colorism is
me.
in my household because my daughters, I have 5 daughters, 2 sons, and they're all like, "Oh, the light skins. That's what goes on in my house." I'm like, "Really, children?"
Light skin
Well-
is
Like my daughter, she's 19 and she's light skinned. She may be a little, maybe a couple of shades lighter than me, but because my children deem that light skin, so they're like, "Oh, she's always got to get what she wants," light skin. I'm like, y'all need to stop.
I only have one sister,
Y'all need to stop.
and it was done to me and her.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't look that different. She may be a shade lighter than me. To my knowledge, I used to be a little lighter myself, but I don't know. I got darker.
I
But
take it dark. I know that.
people used to ask us, do we have the same parents?
Yeah.
Why? Why would that be a question?
Right.
Why would that be? Why would you even need to know that? Even if we had different parents.
Right.
What kind of question is that? But it was in
Wow.
reference to us not looking the same.
Wow. Wow.
You know, we were different. In my grandmother's house, same thing. She had 7 kids, 3 light, 4 dark. Same got a kind of treatment. But it's amazing.
My concern is this. We have this generation, like I said, this generation coming up behind us is pretty much mixed, and they do accept, the blending. And don't get me wrong, I am not saying that, I have an issue with the blending. I don't. You know,
I don't either. My family's a crayon box.
I don't have an issue with the blending,
Right.
but I do I do wish and appreciate when I do see my people in their natural skin tone.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of
It
sense.
does.
You know, does that make
It
sense?
does.
Because then there isn't a. I think part of the problem with a lot of our history being lost is because a lot of our melanin is being lost.
Right.
Right.
You know, and we're not being recognized for who we truly are or truly were. We're being recognized for what we are becoming. And that's what, identities are being built on. The fact that we're acclimating to lightening up the race.
Yeah.
See, that's why I
Oh, yeah.
wanted to go back to when you said what the media represents.
Right.
So, growing up, we looked at TV shows like Good Times and The Jeffersons and Sanford and Son, and these were people of color, and everyone on the show was of color. Whether it be dark or light didn't matter, but they were all black people. And I made reference to the Huxtables. I was referring to the parents being both black instead of being a biracial family. The kids did look different, yeah, they did, but everybody is different because your heritage is going to define your birth. My son was born, as they say, milky white. My daughter was born brown.
Yep.
Both my kids visibly now are brown. So it comes from, your heritage, how you're born and, things like that. You're not going to look always like your parents. You might look like your grandparents. You might look like your husband's brother, your husband's cousin, or whatever But we are definitely portrayed different because there are not that many shows like that on TV now. Every family has a biracial situation in it. Every commercial practically has a biracial situation in it. And we're being fed biracial's okay. It's okay.
Or if you want to live this life, if
this
you
what you
want to
gotta
be
do?
accepted in this club, if you want to have a house in that neighborhood,
Talk
if you
about
want your children to attend that school,
Talk about it.
then this is what you need to do.
take that
you
biracial
need to get
route.
you a light skinned woman, or you need to get you a light skinned man and have you some light skinned babies. You know what I'm saying? So that you can
Get privilege.
get your foot through the door.
There you go.
Wow.
Get your
Said
foot
it.
through the
Yeah.
door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because if you get your foot through the door, then you might be able to maneuver your way a little bit more. If you're sucking your stomach a little bit and tucking your butt, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Now
Wow.
you can get through the door and cross over into the other side and be accepted.
And the funny thing is with media, funny that we joked about darker skinned men. They get more play to me than lighter skinned men in the media. And to me, that goes to show you, again, all colors like dark. You know what I'm saying?
What's
I'm
not
not
to
sa-
love?
you know.
I mean, really, what's not to love? I think that there people who are in, let's say, celebrity status. I think they have a responsibility. I was watching a song that Jay-Z had, and he's talking about how like he wants a light-skinned woman, but then when he talks about in the same song when he talks about the black woman, he talks about how she was trouble. And I'm more than willing to share a clip because I actually have it on YouTube. I was watching it before the show, and I'm just thinking, like, why do that? Like, you've got millions of followers. You have to bring respect to your woman, your
Right.
kind,
Right.
your mother, your sister, you know
That's
what I mean?
right. Speak-
That's your
speak that thing.
community.
I love that.
And you need to, raise that status. She's the queen. Don't turn her into, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the song was about and what he was whining about, but all I know is that
She said what he was whining about.
but he's talking
Jay-Z, I
about
hope you're watching.
Jay-Z, you
watching.
gotta
Stop
change it up.
whining.
Yep.
Stop
Change
whining.
the rhetoric, praise and celebrate your black woman.
That's my
I'm
goal.
annoyed. I think that this whole thing about mixing, the breed, that's that they're onto something. And it is
Divide
getting
and conquer.
Yeah.
divide and conquer,
Divide
right?
and
Of course. Because we
And
unite when we're
this-
together. We're strong.
stronger.
We're powerful. We're
But
powerful people.
if
we're warriors.
if we're fighting amongst ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, we got 'em.
and we're segregating
Yes.
within ourselves.
Say it, Cherise.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Segregating
Yes.
within ourselves. Then if I can get this dark skinned woman to hate this light skinned woman,
Yes.
and this
Yes.
light skinned woman
Yes.
then will go her way. That dark skinned woman will go her way. They'll be separated. It's easier for me being a white person to infiltrate.
That's right.
Okay, to infiltrate, and now I can wreak havoc.
Let
Yes.
me tell you, Sharice, my aunt,
It's a political movement.
I won't name
It is.
names and I
Say
won't
it.
name facilities, was hired over the phone for a job at a hospital. So obviously they don't know what she looks like. Her last name, my grandmother's last name, was Steinbergen. Obviously, that's not a black name, or quote unquote black name. When she got to the hospital and presented herself to do paperwork, whatever the case, and they saw her. Now she's light skinned, but she's not white. Afro. It was back in the day. Afro. They told her, "Oh no, are you that person?" She said, "Yeah." They said, "No, the job's been filled."
Wow.
My aunt, same age as me,
Sadness.
we all went to Catholic school, all of us. When they say your name and you have to stand up, her last name is Steinbergen. And she stood up. I won't say her first name, just in case. And the teacher was like, a double take, silent, like, "She's darker. Is that you?" She was like, "Yeah." So it's very, very real.
I think
And it has definitely happened,
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'm trying to get at is there's a distinct difference between racism and colorism.
That's right.
And we tend to blame racism for the colorism that we participate in. And when I say we, not necessarily we at the table.
No,
but
right.
We
as
as
a
a
people.
as a
Culture
people
and
yeah.
community.
Yeah.
participate
As a community,
in.
yes,
Like
most
we
definitely.
love to pass the buck and say,
yeah.
well, I don't act like this because it's my fault. I act like this because this is how I was taught. But here's the thing. At a certain point, you are responsible for your own education.
That's right.
And I say this time and time again. Okay? Ignorance is bliss. Okay? And people will love to remain ignorant
Right.
about practicing colorism in our communities because once they actually have the information, okay, and the knowledge to go,
Wait a minute.
this is bullcrap.
Exactly.
Okay?
Say so.
Now they have to take the responsibility of
Yeah.
changing their actions.
Right.
That's right.
That's
right.
and people don't want to take the responsibility of doing different because there's a comfort in letting somebody else take the blame for your actions.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But can I ask you, you can't have colorism without it. Without that blending, that racial tension. Because if you take a dark-skinned person, two black people of color, not light, you take them of color, their children will come out of color. It's only when you mix that color with something else, another color. It could be Asian, their color, it could be white, whatever it is. That's when you're going to produce those children who come out different. They're not going to be as dark or as light, whatever the case. And then the colorism is going to take place. That's why enslaved people, when raped by their slave masters, came out with those light children who got placed in the home, and the dark slaves were still left outside. The colorism begins within the culture. So now I'm mad because I'm outside in the heat and you out inside, you know, doing less work, let's say.
Right.
So now my race of people has colorism. Other countries and cultures I can't speak on 100% because I'm not that. But you can only get light when you mix it with something else.
I get that.
So that's why I base
I think
my,
what she's
my
trying
whole
to
thing.
say is what she's trying to say is that the colorism started back then in slavery time because of what she
No,
explained.
I'm just trying to
right?
say my
So
opinion of colorism stems from racism
right.
and prejudice.
I-
It stems from there. That's
Right.
all I'm saying.
Okay, so the colorism absolutely started back then because of the separation. The black woman raped by the white man, produced a
child.
mulatto kid. The mulatto kid is put in the house. Down through history, it continues. It keeps doing that. So now when we get till now, oh, you light skin, you the one they take in the house. you that one they
You
put
that
in the
nigga.
house.
I mean,
It's the
that's
truth
what it is.
though. It
You
is.
that
It's
nigga.
true. You the
But it's just
mulatto
like
nigga.
the
We
Spanish
put you in the
culture,
house.
too.
So that's the colorism. And so I understand what Sharice is trying to get at is as we need to stop that. Period.
Exactly. Because
Absolutely needs to cut it down.
it's sort of like, and I don't want to go off topic, but just to give an example, it's sort of like we have to break the cycle.
Right. Gotta
You
stop.
have to break the
They gotta
cycle.
stop.
You know, if there's a cycle of domestic violence in your family,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and great grandma was beat, and then grandma was beat, and ma was beat,
Yeah.
you know, like that.
And nobody
Cycle
said
gotta
anything.
stop.
You can make a conscious choice to say
that's gonna stop.
I'm not going to do
We'll be
this.
beat.
Yeah.
I'm breaking the chain right
Correct.
here.
Correct. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think we now have to stop going, well, it's racism's fault that this happens in our community.
No,
because
it's
it's
not
not.
that.
We know where it originated from.
Right,
We
right.
know why
It started.
it started
That's
and
right.
like that.
That's right.
But the thing is, first of all, we're not in slavery times anymore.
Yeah, that's over.
We're not in slavery
Yeah,
times.
that's over.
You know what I'm saying? So you're not on a plantation being raped by massa. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And producing light skinned children.
Right.
It's different now.
You're doing it making a choice.
Yes. And
You're
it's
doing it making a choice.
Just different.
absolutely.
But because you've made that choice, and like I said, all my kids are lighter than me. All my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Actually, I think I'm the second darkest next to my father in my family.
Wow.
Okay? All the kids, you know, are lighter than me, and I would never say there's anything wrong with the children being lighter than me, but the mindset has to be different.
Right.
You being light skinned, your mother's still black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Your
it ma-
mother's
and,
still
and
black.
it absolutely makes you black. Sorry
Absolutely.
for you, but it
no
is
matter
the truth.
how light you are.
You're still
I
black.
teach that to my kids because living out here, it's not a lot of choices of women of color for our men of color out here. In my opinion, someone out living out here could say different,
Absolutely.
and that's their experience.
Right.
My experience is my son has dated all types of women,
Right.
girls out here,
Right.
and I let him know, no problem dating anybody you like.
Right.
No problem loving anybody that you're gonna love.
That's right.
But no, when you bring them here, they're going to see a black mom.
Right.
Your mom is
It's
black.
black. And
Right.
that's
And
where it's,
you
that's
don't
where it
have
gotta
to
start.
like
Yes.
A black-skinned woman. but know who your mother is.
She's
And
black.
look for something like that. If you like me, look for something like that in the woman you choose.
Right. Right.
And it has nothing to do with her color.
Right. I
My
understand
son
that.
has dated an Egyptian girl. Came to the house politely to let us know she don't eat pork. Fine, we won't give you pork. You know, my son has dated a white girl. No problem. Understand, if you want to be with my son, all that you see, know he's a black man
Right.
in society,
Right.
treated different, and will be treated different when with you. Understand that. I said that to her.
Yeah.
Said that to my son. Keep it real. Just like when you talk about abuse. If great grandma was abused and never said a word, and nobody saw nothing, and grandma was abused and never knew her mother was abused, and then her daughter is abused, but you never told your daughter you was abused, and nobody said anything, it's very difficult to break that chain. So if you don't discuss these hard discussions and these different things in the home to let one another know you can break the chain, don't do what I did, it won't stop.
And again, this is why I say we need to have the conversation.
There you go, cafe conversation.
You know, this is why we need to have the conversation, because pretty privilege is real.
Yeah,
It
It really
absolutely
is.
is.
It's real.
It is real.
And sadly, as a result of pretty privilege, and I just want to say this, ladies, please don't take it the wrong way. Don't get it wrong. I am no way coming down on those of you queens who are lighter skinned. Okay? I am no way coming down. But it is a fact, and I'm just pointing out the facts. It is a fact that many times light skinned women are considered beautiful or pretty.
Right.
And as a result of them being considered beautiful and pretty, they get afforded privileges. They get passes that a darker skinned woman wouldn't get.
Wow.
Okay? I mean, my research, they get paid more on jobs. They're more likely to get a job interview when they sit in an office or go in to inquire about a job. They're more likely to get a call back than a not so attractive woman.
Wow.
You know? They're more likely to be asked out and have multiple relationships. You know, they're more likely to be social and have, very social lives. You know, they're considered privileged because they're looked at as if they're smarter and more valuable. That hurts my feelings. I'm going to just be real.
As it should.
That
As it
hurts
should.
my feelings
It's
because
true. It's an insult.
I mean, first of all, I think I'm beautiful.
As you should.
You
That's
know
not
what
a
I'm saying?
think.
As you should.
I think
I
I'm beautiful.
know I'm beautiful.
You understand what I'm
And
saying?
it's to change
And
your language.
and my whole thing is, I think she's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And just because she's lighter than me, she's beautiful. She's just a beautiful light skin.
Everyone at this
Right.
You know
table.
what I'm saying? And even African American women or Hispanic women who are lighter than me, I find them beautiful. I find all shades beautiful. But society puts us in situations that make us feel like, hey, sometimes you want to sit back and be like, you know what? Would circumstances be different for me if I were lighter skinned? Would I have gotten that job if I were lighter skinned? Would I have gotten that raise if I were lighter skinned? There are companies who will not hire, a certain type because they want a certain look in their offices. Now, that is discrimination. It is against the law.
Absolutely.
Okay, but they're not going to come out and say that because the truth of the matter is nobody's going to call you like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you were too dark.
Right.
We wanted the lighter skin, thinner woman.
Yeah.
You know, no glasses. We don't want dreads this week.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Not this
saying?
week.
And listen,
The braids gotta go.
and you
The
know,
weaves gotta go.
Okay.
LaQuisha,
They'll tell you. They won't tell
Johnson just
Okay.
is not fitting into our,
Yeah.
Rolodex of names we
Oh, yeah.
wish to send out
Oh,
to
yeah.
represent our company.
Oh, those
yeah.
resumes go in the garbage.
You know
A
what I'm
lot of
saying?
them.
So if we want to be able to change other people's minds and other people's thinking, we have to change ours first.
Yes.
You
That's
know?
right.
And one of the things I do believe is retraining ourselves to not fall into that circumference of, you know what, I look like this, so I should be in this box.
Right.
Or she looks like that and she should be in that box. Or you look like this and you should be in this box.
Right. No, we all.
You
in
know what
the
I'm
same
saying?
box.
But when ultimately, no matter what box you're in this community, we're all in this box because
That's right.
everybody else is out here. You know, we're still the same. Your struggle is still going to be the same. No matter how good or how close you become, you will never actually be. You know, and until we can actually, because the other thing too is I really do honestly believe we subliminally teach our children colorism.
True.
We
I agree.
subliminally treat our children. Okay, colorism. How? Toys. You spoke earlier about the dolls. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And there was a study done by a psychologist. I do not remember his name at the moment, but there was a study done, and little black girls were offered
Preferred.
2 dolls, and they could choose whichever one they want, and most of them chose
The white doll.
the white doll
Right.
with the blue
Wow.
eyes.
Wow.
Okay, and when asked why did they choose that one instead of the other one, because she's pretty.
Yeah.
Wow.
You understand? So my whole thing is, and a lot of times you don't realize it. You don't realize it.
Right.
You know, you go buy a doll and and
Because it's
and-
what they see on
But
television.
in past generations,
You know
there were
that-
no black dolls.
Yeah.
There were none.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
So
It's
it.
true.
black children played with white
White
dolls.
dolls. That's
So
true.
there were no black dolls until they made black dolls.
Right.
Then in the home you had to make the choice:
Right.
which doll were you going to buy? And a lot of times you don't want to not buy a white doll because it's representation of what you see.
That's right.
But you want to buy dolls that represent you.
That's right.
So when you play with one another, you don't mistreat one another. Now they have light-skinned black dolls, brown dolls. They have dark dolls. They have the dolls in the wheelchair. They have the dolls with the canes and the crutches. They have all types of dolls now, and that I think that helps. But you have to have a choice in your home what your makeup is in your
Right.
house. Now, if you have mixed children in the home, then you buy mixed dolls.
Right.
And
Right.
They
you can
have
buy-
they have now authors writing amazing children books
Yeah,
say
they
it.
that
do.
Say it.
talk
I-
about like
Yeah.
I
She's
remember
smiling. She
I
must
love
have read
her.
them.
I did.
I've
I
done
actually
that.
did, and I'm going to tell you
I'm
why.
with you. I've read them too. I know exactly.
my
which books you're
my
talking about.
daughter she was in school. She was only 5 years old, and they were drawing pictures of like their moms. I guess the teacher said draw your family, and she colors me brown. So she was only 5. So
Right.
the boy next to her says to her, "Oh, that's your mom's color? That's like doo-doo. That's the color of doo-doo."
Oh no.
My daughter was traumatized, devastated. She didn't talk the whole way. I knew something was wrong. And then finally I got it out of her about what happened. And she was crying and saying that this little boy said your skin color is like doo-doo, and and she was so sad and so brokenhearted. So guess what I did? I went and I got that book, and I got the children's book where it talked about how your skin tone is a beautiful mocha or a beautiful shade of caramel.
Right.
Absolutely.
And just describing it in like delicious ways. It was just like a
It starts
flavor.
At home. It starts at
It
home.
starts at home. And I made her feel good about it. Like she felt like defensive, of course.
Yeah.
You know, not ashamed, but more defensive.
Right.
But I told her to be proud of it.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's just it's little things like that, you know. And it happens in school age kids, you
Yes.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it happens. And so there's authors who are, you know, writing books about, you know, our hair textures are different, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
wavy
yeah.
hair, curly hair, afro hair, kinky hair, you know, straight hair, you know, all of it. So,
Right.
but one of the things I wanted to talk about when we say breaking the cycle, I know that in my culture, there's industries that are thriving on selling products that lighten the skin tone. And these products are not only dangerous, but expensive. Like people will, I mean, you know, spend whatever it takes to lighten their skin tone. They have that ingredient hydrochloroquine, 2%, like
Yeah, right.
chloroquine, and it's supposedly can cause even cancer, irritation, whatnot. And they sell them. There's one particular company called Fair and Lovely, and they've made. I mean, I can't even tell you how much revenue this company makes. Yeah, that's like
Oh yeah. That's like
Thunder?
Oh yeah.
thunder. Yeah.
Okay.
So this company, Fair and Lovely, has been in the market for decades, and all it does is that they're even like their slogan is "Get married fast," because a man will choose you if you have lighter skin,
My
Wow.
goodness.
right? Yeah. So, and a lot of these actors used to, you know, be sponsored by it to, you know, advertise for it.
Promote.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm beautiful because I use Fair and Lovely. So now there's been a boycott. There's been a movement because we're inching. It's a long
It's a
time
slow
coming. It's a
process.
slow process, but we are coming to that breaking of the cycle of, you know, not supporting. Those companies need to be shut down. A, they're not safe, and B, what is the message that you're sending to the youth?
Yes.
And it's a shame because, you know, I'll tell you, you're absolutely right. Most of my people are brown. Most of them. I would say 75% of them are brown, right? And they'll be the first one to just prefer a light skin. I know people that just wait for the light skin person. They won't marry the darker skin tone.
Why do y'all think that is, though? There has to be something that makes people feel like I'm not good enough unless I have this, or I look like this. My
white
kids
America.
look
It's
like
white
this.
America.
America.
It's Europe.
But-
It
but-
is the definition
It's
that
been
what they
given us
have
that.
fed and
Remember,
conditioned
fed
us
us
to
that.
believe.
It started. We got to still go all the way back. Okay, it started back then, and that's what they continued.
And they conquered
going
us.
on,
So
putting it on, putting
They're
on a
in
picture,
control.
putting a white face on the front of a book,
Media
the front of
is
the
what
front
they
of
say.
advertisement. So we're gonna sell white dolls. We're gonna sell makeup. We're gonna use a white skin to do that. They did that, and it's over the years. It's been over the years. So now it's our time, our turn to change it, to reverse that, and not continue to dwell in that and say no, we're not doing that anymore. It's this now.
If light is always chosen over dark, that's the reason. People keep thinking it's better. It's better to be light. It's better to be light. It's better to be light.
Okay, so education, y'all. Here we go.
there we go. There you go.
Here we go.
Education.
I'm listening.
All right.
On the head. Education.
Okay, colorism 101.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the whole light skin is the right skin. Out the window.
That's
out
right.
the window.
Out the window.
Okay, because at the end of the day, it's what's inside of you as a person that makes the difference. It's not about your skin color, because you know what? You could be as pretty as a China doll on the outside and be the ugliest person on the inside.
That's
That's
right.
what I say.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
and be the ugliest person on the outside, and that has nothing to
Inside.
do with your. I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
ugliest
yeah.
person on the inside, and that has nothing to do with your skin color.
That's right.
You know,
That's
the
right.
other thing is that everybody struggles. Everybody goes through something. Everybody has to climb a mountain.
That's right.
Okay? Your mountain might be a little bit shorter. Maybe it's been a little bit easier because of your skin tone, you know, but this is where I charge our lighter skin community members, okay, to start re-educating people about the fact that and okay, start re-educating people about the fact that
You're no better.
right, just because you're light skinned.
Right.
The funny part of that, though, on the flip side of that is I've heard quite a few light-skinned women actually say, as much as dark-skinned women don't get, light-skinned women get harassed, you know, or they're solicited more. They're more likely to be attacked because they're pretty. You know, a lot of times they feel like they are isolated because they feel animosity from darker skinned women, so they don't fit in a certain group because of that.
Right.
Or and classism
Well,
is a thing
you
within
know-
us. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a thing
I had
within
that phase,
us.
too.
So we have to, whether you're light skin, dark skin, milk chocolate, chocolate with coconut, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Cafe con leche, however you want to put it. Okay? The bottom line is, you know what I'm saying? We still are one and the same. There are struggles that are so much bigger than our
So
skin
much bigger.
tones.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because now that the media is touching on skin tones, trying to allow us to accept all the colors of the universe, they're now placing the stigma on body types.
Wow.
So we're going to have to battle that.
I think the
Soon.
stigma was always on
Always,
body type.
yeah.
Well, it's always been
yeah.
on color too.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, to me, in my opinion, there's more plastic surgery than
Oh,
ever.
absolutely,
Than
absolutely.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's
as much
more
and
ways
as much as
around
they're doing,
getting
yeah,
plastic
as much
surgery.
as they're getting the plastic surgery is becoming is being botched.
Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a whole nother
And
show.
dangerous
Through
and-
that.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just saying we're gonna have to battle that soon because people really don't see themselves as beautiful in not the skin they're in, but the body that they're in.
Yeah. People are just buying beauty now.
They're
You know what I
buying
mean?
it.
Yeah. When
You
I was
want a
little
bigger
girl,
butt?
my mom,
Go buy it.
My mom used to
Yeah,
make me use
breasts.
Ambi. She, my grandmother, my biological. I didn't know my biological father, so the man that raised me, his mother was light skinned. They were mixed, and so she used to make my mother buy Ambi, make me use Ambi to lighten my skin. Ambi was a face
Fierce
bar
screen.
that it was
a cream, too.
it was a cream. I used the bar, the soap, and I used the cream. So I had to use the soap and then I put the cream to lighten my skin. I'm like, I'm already light skinned. I'm darker skinned now because I've been taking medication for many years and it darkens your skin. I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. But that's the reason why I'm a little bit darker now. Plus, I got a tan too. Anyway.
Gorgeous.
But that's what my mom used to make me use. Then when I was also a little girl, she used to make me purse my lips. My mom had pucky lips. And so my grandmother was like, she should purse her lips so that they can make them smaller. I'm like, I don't want small lips.
I've never heard of that.
Let me tell you, I went through it as a little girl.
I've never heard of pursing. You
purse
call
your
it
lips.
Purse your lips.
Purse your lips.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, bye.
Just like that. So your
And
lips
it's-
wouldn't
it's-
be.
And it's funny that you
It's
say
real.
that because if you look up some of the quote unquote standards of what they say beauty is. It's full lips,
Full lips.
which is
Black women.
Black
thank
women.
you.
Yeah.
Black women
Hello.
have
I
full
know.
lips, and I don't
Hello.
have full
And
lips.
I was
Okay.
criticized as a black woman for having small lips.
Small
That's what I'm
lips.
saying.
My lips
Why your
got
lips
a little
so
bigger
small?
when I wore braces. For some reason, you know, when
Yes,
you have the
they
braces
puck it,
on, it
they
pokes
pucks
it out
out.
a
Yeah,
little bit.
yep.
But my lips, my father's lips are small, was small, and mine too. And I used to get criticized, like,
Why
what
you got
happened?
small lips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even my husband was like,
And that's why I say it's hilarious to me, and this is why I don't understand why.
Excuse me.
I get why colorism is still an issue, but why it shouldn't be as much of an issue.
It should not.
You know, you
That's
understand
right.
what I'm saying? Because
That's
there's so much more than our skin color. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, we are sort of setting the standards of what beauty is.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
setting the standards.
yeah.
Women are getting collagen injections and Botox so that
Yes.
their lips are full.
You say
Okay,
it.
Those jobs.
they're getting facelifts, okay, and tucks so that they have almond-shaped Egyptian eyes.
Yes.
They're getting permanent
Okay.
eyebrows and
Hello.
eyeliner,
They're-
permanent
I mean,
makeup.
They're getting butt implants so that they can have fuller hips
Yes.
and thighs.
Yes.
But can
And
I
we're
say,
born
We're
with
born
this.
that. We're
But
born
can
I'm
I
that.
telling you,
also
Beyonce
say-
came and she changed it all.
but let me just tell you.
She said thicker thighs, bigger butt, the whole
Well,
thing.
I'm just going to say again, when you conceive children, they're not born that way. They're not going to be how you made yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's not the real you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now what do? How do you explain that to your children when they're born, flat chested or the flat booties or or whatever, however they come out, and you're gonna fix them? That's not cool.
I think the first conversation that needs to be had is the conversation of self.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I think, and this is just my opinion. Somebody else may think differently.
Right.
But for me, I have to know where I've been in order to know where I'm going.
That's right.
What I mean by that is, we have a strong history of being a powerful people.
Right.
That's
Okay?
the threat.
We didn't come over here not knowing how to survive, how to eat, how to hunt, how to build, how to run families. We were civilized
Okay.
before we were told we needed to be civilized.
Right. Or that
Okay?
we're savages.
We had
Yeah.
we had organizations, we had communities.
That's
there
right.
were rules. Okay? There were jobs. Everyone knew their place.
That's right. That's right.
So there wasn't a need to have to come over here and learn about what we were supposed to be
Right,
learning
right.
or what we should know that we didn't know. We had language.
Right. We had our own language.
You know what I'm saying?
We had religion. We had our, forefathers' names. Those things were stripped of us.
From us. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Giving us
You
names
know,
that
and
don't belong to us.
I do believe that in knowing about the travel, the trip, the journey to today, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the physical trip on the ship. I'm talking about the mental trip from the slavery, the torture, the loss of family,
The abuse.
the
and all that.
abuse,
That's right.
all that stuff,
That's
to
right.
where we are today. We have to not be afraid to say, this is what we were.
Right.
This is who we were. Egypt, okay, which is one of the strongest nations, looked like you.
Yeah.
Look like us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Look like
Absolutely.
us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Cleopatra.
hot over there.
Cleopatra
the Holy
was.
Land,
Cleopatra.
Mecca,
She was black.
Right.
She was a black woman.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
was absolutely.
Don't take that away. And that's the
Absolutely.
thing that surprises me. I mean, my children are half Egyptian, and I tell them all the time, when you go to Egypt, you will see for yourself that
see, yeah.
every other person is black.
That's
That is
right.
a black nation.
It is.
In your
It is.
college application, you are putting down that you are African American because you do come from Egypt,
That's
and
right.
that's a black nation.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Period.
Right. Period. Period.
People are now afraid to be black.
They are. They don't
I-
want to
and
put it on
I'm
their.
saying that
Yeah, it's true.
wholeheartedly, especially men.
well, let me just mention
There's
this:
abuse out here.
Egypt's economy, it thrives on tourism. So they're not trying to show, oh, come visit this black nation. They're just trying to show the image of
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just like
Okay.
America. People from other countries say the painted picture of coming here is nothing like when they get here.
Oh, absolutely.
So
That's a
it's
hard.
the same thing. This is
yeah.
a tourist place as well.
That's
and
right.
it's very hard to live here. Very difficult. The struggle is really real.
That's right.
But
Yep.
they think
It's a rude
differently.
awakening.
It's a
Oh,
rude
yeah.
awakening when you come from, and I've heard that from several
Yeah.
people. who
I
are
mean,
not from here.
people come with titles. People would come with education and just like you said,
Right.
we had a language. We knew how it. You know what I mean? We were already civilized,
That's
Right.
right.
right?
That's right.
So you're right. I mean, people come and then all of that is stripped away because now they got to work at Rite Aid.
Right.
You
my
know, just
my
to make
husband was treated by a brain surgeon in his country who
Hmm.
was starting from almost zero
Yeah.
to become a doctor here,
Wow.
but was doing better than the whole team of doctors who was working on my husband.
Wow.
He was the one that they needed,
Wow.
but yet, he had to like earn his keep here, I guess.
Yeah.
Earn his
You know.
part.
Anytime and well, you know what? This is not really a political topic,
No,
but I'm
it-
just gonna say, like, anytime there's a certificate, whether
Yes.
it's a marriage certificate, this is
Yes.
control.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
care
It
what
is.
anyone says. This
It
is
is.
It is.
control.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Educational certificate, whatever, that's control. That's power.
A birth
Yes.
certificate. They give us a birth certificate. That's control. Because we
Social
want to.
Security,
We want to
all
know
that.
we want to know where every person is, what they're doing, and don't think they don't know because
And
they
now
do.
color is on your application.
Absolutely.
And your property.
Yes, and you belong to.
Why do you think
you?
they say optional?
say it, girl.
They say
Yeah, they say
optional.
optional.
Well, then why ask?
Right.
Why you ask me if it's optional?
That's
If
right.
it's optional, don't ask me.
So
Yeah.
I
Why
want
do you want
to
to know my color?
address a comment we got from someone in the cafe tonight. And Ms. John said, I had a Latin friend. He put Caucasian on his college and other applications so he could receive privileges, and he did.
I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
And
of
he
it.
did.
I'm sure.
And that's a sad situation. It's sad that one, he felt he had to
Become white.
become somebody else.
Right.
Totally take on a whole different identity in order to get what he, as a citizen, was probably rightfully
But just
entitled to.
but look at it, just the color identity.
Right.
It's all about his color. Nothing else.
But this is where we have to break the cycle, right? This is where we have to break the cycle. This is where we stand up to it and say, fight against it.
Wow.
Because I think that is a valid argument. Why do you need to know what my background is?
Why?
Exactly.
Why?
My
What difference
brain
does it
is not
make?
going to work better than yours, or you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like, I'm going to learn in my own capacity, and I'm going to get an education in my own, merit. It shouldn't be based on, where I come from.
Well,
Color
big companies, they are, I can't think of the word now, but their human resources applications are reviewed. And they have to hire a certain amount of people if they get a certain amount of money to run their
right.
their company.
They get grants.
They
and-
get different
government
monies and
grants.
things like that. So you have to have a certain amount of minorities working
yeah.
for your establishment, or you lose. You get
That's right.
cited. You have to pay a fine
That's
and
right.
all of that.
That's right.
Hospitals included for people who may not know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a certain amount of minorities in management. You have to have a certain amount of minorities working for you.
That's right.
And
But are they
That's-
doing us a favor?
no. I'm not. I think it's necessary because our country is so back to prejudice. It's a prejudice world we live in. So in order to bypass that, that's some of the things we have to do. I'm getting off of color because you don't know a person's color on their application. But when asking their race and things like that, some of that is the reason. And
Right.
when you begin to then lie and say you're not what you are and all of
Right.
that, it messes it up for the rest.
Right.
You know? So you're
Yeah.
there seeking your privileges,
Yep.
and lucky you for your light skin. But
Right.
what about me? When I'm just like you, I just have dark skin. But now I lose because you're in and I'm not.
But then what happens if within us, I you know,
It's within us.
I get the whole, you know, our fight
Absolutely.
against, you know, our fight against not being white. I get that, and again, you
And
know,
you get
we
white
will,
privilege,
we will,
you get that.
yeah, and I get
This
white
is true.
privilege.
Okay.
You know, and I don't want to spill over into the white privilege because
No,
that's not what we're talking about here.
Correct.
You know, because the thing is, even before we talk about the white privilege, we got to talk about
Us.
the light skin privilege here.
That's not
Right.
white.
Right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We have to talk about why is it that, you know, some of us really do associate, you know, with that whole pretty privilege ideology so that we could get ahead. And sadly, that is our mentality. I really, and I believe it, and I may be wrong.
No,
and
you're
Lord,
not
forgive
right.
me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
You know, like that. But I really do honestly believe a lot of times people marry lighter so that they can
And
get
have
ahead.
privilege.
do.
Yep.
They
You
do.
know,
You're
they
not
can
wrong,
get
too.
ahead, and in doing that, there's a whole spectrum of, like, you're pulling the spokes out of the wheel, you know, of what your life is probably supposed to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying it's if you're married to a white woman, a white man. I don't care.
That's your-
It doesn't
that's your
matter.
choice,
That has
right.
nothing to do with me.
As long as you're not doing it, that's you're not doing it
For the
because
wrong
you
reason.
wanna
Right.
For the wrong
you wanna be
reasons.
here.
Yeah.
You're doing it because you love that person, you care
Right.
about that person, they love you, they're plain and simple.
Right.
But when you start doing it because you're looking to get ahead and you want your
And
babies to be
acceptance.
half white
Exotic
and
looking.
mulatto and looking all you know, pretty.
Good hair.
That's what they say.
That's what
Good
they
hair
say.
and pretty. Then you got an issue. Something wrong with you. You
Yeah.
gotta get your mind.
And
your mind
that's
right.
so
Plain and
funny
simple.
because, like, and I'm glad you said good hair because
Because that's what they used to say in my family.
I was watching School Days.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lee,
I was trying
yeah.
to remember. I couldn't get it in
School
my head.
Days,
have
and
mercy.
that one scene when they went to Madame Riri's and like, Riri, come on, I
Yes.
gotta get my weave done and
Yes.
everything. But the song "Good and Bad Hair"
Yes.
Yeah.
really said a lot.
It did.
It said
Yes.
a lot
Yes.
because it's like, it's true. People look at your hair and go, "Oh, she got good hair," but my hair is kinky.
And
No,
then
they
they,
call it
and
bad
they won't
hair,
say
and they
Right,
call
and
it
they don't
bad
say I
hair.
have
and
bad
they don't
hair.
even
Right.
they don't
You
even
know?
say bad hair. They just say, "Oh, you got kinky hair."
No,
No,
they say bad
I don't
hair.
hear
They say
people
you
say
got
Oh,
bad
yeah,
bad
they
hair.
say
Yeah,
bad
that's
hair.
terrible.
Or
That's
may not
terrible.
even say that I have bad hair, just that she got that good hair.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
got
though.
that.
My
got
hair
that
is so
good hair.
dry and
You
dead.
know? But again, my
But
whole
you know
thing
what?
is-
It happens in
Now we
colorism too.
know.
You know,
Huh?
that happens within the colorism.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a big part
my
of it.
daughters have, you know, they have my daughters. Every last one of them, kinky hair. But the texture is different for this one. The
Right.
texture is different. So when we all go get our hair done, and the two older daughters, they get the press and the curl, and it's real pressed and curl, and they're like, "Wow, y'all got good hair." And I be looking at them women like, "Y'all need to shut up."
Yeah, really.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I don't teach that in my home.
No.
Sorry,
Good.
I don't want you saying that to my babies. Don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That and it happens, and it's awful, and we gotta stop it.
Yeah, I have a
We gotta stop
beautician
it.
who's Hispanic, and she never refers to hair as good or bad. Never.
Never.
And that's a
That's
good
right.
thing. And
Good
she's
for
not.
her.
That's right, and
Good
you
for
should.
her.
She's
I
Hispanic.
I
but-
went to Robert Fion's beauty school, and I didn't even listen to when they talked about good and bad hair, because that's what they did. It was a white school, and they talked about good and bad hair, and I was like, I'm not even trying to hear you. I went from Robert Fion's to Wilford Academy, never heard good or bad hair
From
one
Wilford
time
Academy.
that I
Yeah.
was in Wilford Academy,
Look
not
at
once.
you.
My
That's-
mother graduated from that school, and she graduated with a diversity of women with different hair, and they
She
all
could do
did
all the hair.
every kind of hair that it was
Right.
possible.
Right.
We do it to ourselves, and then we continue to try to blame them. We can't always blame them because we have a choice. We
That's
have a
what
choice.
Sharice was saying.
We have a
That's what I'm
choice
saying.
whether to teach our kids this or that. I choose to teach them over here. We ain't doing this or that. We
Yep.
gonna be right here
You're
in
right.
the middle.
You're
That's
right.
me.
And teach them how to take care of their
And
4C
how to-
locks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Teach them how to take care of the hair. Teach them how to, you know what I'm saying?
She said locks are just
My
Yes, because
husband
at
jokes
the end-
all
yes.
the time
Oh,
about
yes.
that because
Oh, yeah.
he's dark. He has what they call nice hair. He's bald now, but his hair was nice. It was
Right.
very curly,
That's right.
and it was curly
That's
on its
right.
own, not kinky curly. It was very nice curly hair. He put some jam in his hair. You thought he had a Jerry curl, and people used to laugh at him and joke with him like, "When you get your Jerry curl?" He used to be like,
What?
"This is not a
It's
Jerry curl.
Jerry
This is my
curl."
hair, right?"
Get your mind.
So now, you know, he meets me and my sister. Me and my sister have two different kind of hair textures, but not, you know, it's not bad, whatever. But he used to laugh and tell us that we had Z. What is it? What 4C? Well, he used to call us
4C?
Z.
Oh.
He told us we had Z
Z
kind of
color.
hair, and we used to be like, "No, we don't. You got to see this
Wow.
person." And then we would be like, "What kind of hair they got?" Because that's Z, you know. But it was just a joke,
Right.
inside joke. We would never tell people, you know, stuff like
Right.
that. But it was funny.
I feel like this. Bottom line is, we need to begin to retrain our thinking.
Yes.
And in retraining our thinking, we need to do so, especially if you have children. Okay? It's you got to start while they're young. You got to start while they're young. And I get it, because you know what? Colorism has been around for ages. It'll probably be around for several more 100 years, you know, and stuff like that. Before we get to the point where we're saying enough is enough.
That's right.
I think people have to be fed up with being a category. I don't want to be a category. I'm Sharice.
I'm Carlotta.
Okay?
I'm juicy.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm Aisha.
I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dark-skinned, beautiful black woman.
Beautiful
Okay?
black queen.
I am plus size, and I own my cinnamon rolls.
That's right.
Okay?
That's
I
right.
own my cinnamon
That's
rolls.
right.
And
Girl,
no,
you can have 'em.
I do not fit into the typical stereotypical ideology of what beautiful is, but I consider myself beautiful.
You are
Absolutely.
absolutely
You know what I'm
beautiful.
saying?
And that's what matters.
I believe that no matter what shade you are beautiful. But you
Yes.
have to be comfortable in your beauty.
That's
And
right.
when I say be comfortable in your beauty, not be cocky in your beauty.
Not be
Confidence.
conceited.
Confidence.
Have
Exactly.
confidence.
In your beauty.
You know, but be confident in your beauty.
Right.
You know, and I think once people learn how to be confident as opposed to cocky,
Right.
then all this that's going on between us
Right.
will kind of start to dissipate. It'll start to dissipate because we will then begin to say, you know what? We're just different,
Yes.
not better than the
Right.
other one.
That's
We're
right.
just different.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And different is good because in different, I like variety. You know what I'm saying? I want to go in the store and I want to look at
Diversity
the
is
Honeycrisp
good.
apples, and I want to look at the Granny Smiths, and I want to see the
Yes.
Macintosh, and I want to see, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And maybe I don't want Macintosh today. Maybe I need that Honeycrisp for my apple pie.
Right.
You know what
I
I'm
hear
saying?
you.
But options are always good, but it's only good when it's used for the greater good.
That's right.
And the greater good right now has to be, the
Amen.
greater good has to be the elevation of our communities.
Absolutely.
It has to be the changing of our mindsets.
That's right.
It has to, we have to grab the hand of the child and say, listen, it's not what you see on TV.
Right.
This is the reality of your world.
That's right.
And the reality of your world is you're going to have struggle, but that doesn't mean you have defeat.
That's right.
The color of your skin doesn't make you any weaker.
Right.
Right.
Dark-skinned babies, you're beautiful.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? Light-skinned babies, you're beautiful.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And my mixed babies,
Talk about
you're
it.
beautiful,
Beautiful.
too. You understand what I'm saying?
That's
There's
right.
not one more beautiful than the other.
That's right.
Okay? You're just different.
We're
Okay?
all different.
But one is not more important than the other.
That's right.
One is not smarter than the other.
That's right.
We all have the capacity to be successful. We all have the capacity to be understood. We all have the capacity to love
That's
and
right.
to be loved. Okay?
And
And
be
we all
beautiful.
have the capacity, okay, to stop the nonsense.
Stop it.
We gotta stop the
I hope
nonsense.
y'all heard that for the people
What
in
I
the back.
want to offer, what I want to offer is this. In preparing for this show, okay, first and foremost, you cannot change what you will not acknowledge. I'm going to say it again.
I love it.
You cannot change what you will not acknowledge. If you don't acknowledge that your thought process is narrow, then you will not change and broaden your mind.
Yeah.
Which means you will then pass this down through the generations and it will continue to fester like a zit because you refuse to change the course.
That's right.
We have to change the course.
That's right.
We have to change the course. Okay?
Sharice has spoken.
I'm going to tell y'all this. There is a documentary. It was on YouTube. I saw it. I mean, it's on YouTube now. Actually, you can find it on YouTube, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vudu, Sundance, Fandango now, the Roku channel. I'm giving it all to you because nobody can say they cannot find it.
That's right.
Okay? Look it up. Watch it. It's called Dark Girls. It's a documentary about colorism. You will be surprised
Yes.
you'll be surprised at what you hear and how people react and why they react that way. And a lot of it is just a matter of somebody said.
Because somebody said.
Because somebody said. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is start to re-educate yourself and get away from the things that somebody said.
Yes. Yes.
You know, learn about your history, learn about yourself, learn about what it is what makes you feel beautiful. That's all that counts.
That's
What
right.
makes you feel beautiful. Don't worry about what society says you're supposed to look like. Don't worry about what it is. That man that you've been eyeballing, you think he cute and all like that. He's like, well, if you change this, and you
Right.
do that, and you
Right.
perk these,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
stick that
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and all this kind of stuff, that's not the one for you. That's not the one for you.
That's the
Because-
one with issues.
Exactly.
That's the one.
Exactly.
one with
You
issues.
leave him alone.
You know what I'm saying? And listen, if he start telling you he want the blonde hair and you need to go buy a bustier and pull it in, okay? And he wants a low cut. He wants you to get them implants in your breast and all like that. Run, girl. Run.
Right, 'cause I'm trying to
Okay?
make you
Because all those traits are European inspired.
feel. That's right.
They're European inspired. You're beautiful as you are.
That's right.
Don't change it unless you want to change it for yourself. If you're doing it for you, then by all means. But if you're doing it because you want to fit into a certain group, you want to be accepted by a certain community, okay? If you're acting a certain way because you feel that you're doing this so that somebody can look at you and say, yes, you're one of us, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and it won't last. It won't
It
last.
won't last.
And you think you're unhappy now trying to make those changes? Wait till you actually get there and they still slam the door in your face.
Or wait till all of that starts to go away.
Literally.
You
Yeah.
have to love people for who they are,
know?
because we all change.
Literally. And I just want to read something because this is great. One of our guests in the cafe said, look in the mirror and speak positive affirmations
That's
to
right.
yourself.
That's right.
The part about you that you hate, dislike, find something that you like about it and change the way you feel and think about that part. Amen to that.
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
Amen to that. You know,
Absolutely.
when you feel good about you, then you'll feel good about what you do, what you represent, who you stand for, and who you are. You know,
Because
Don't-
I personally feel real good when I'm in that Zumba class.
Ooh.
Shaking it up.
ooh,
Get it,
Zumba
girl.
is
Isn't Zumba fun?
fire.
Yes.
Fire.
We
Y'all
be-
need to
we
join
be
us for
laughing.
Zumba
I need to
on
join. I need to join.
Wednesday.
I didn't mean to change the
Woo!
subject. I'm just saying.
Zumba on Wednesday.
Zumba.
You're
okay.
Zumba.
You're okay.
Zumba on Friday, y'all, 7 o'clock. Zumba on Friday. But we're going to get ready to head out. You know, we've been with you guys for 2 hours. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
sticking
tuning
around
in.
for the extended conversation. It was much needed. Thank you for all the input of our friends who were in the cafe tonight.
Yes.
You guys really do make a difference. These conversations would mean nothing if you didn't interact with us and stuff, because we want to know what you think, you know, and it takes a village for us to raise children.
That's right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It
Absolutely.
takes a village, and we're that village. Nobody else is going to come along and build that village but us.
Yes.
So it is necessary for
Yes.
us to take the time, and it's not going to be easy. Nobody says it's going to be easy. You know, nobody's going to let it be easy.
That's
They're
right.
not going to let it be easy. But if we don't take care of us, who will?
That's right.
If we don't take care of us, who will?
will?
So with that, I give you Dark Girls, the documentary. Okay. Also, check out Netflix. The movie is called Skin. Okay, on Netflix. Social media, The Darkest Hue on Instagram is a chat room where you can go in and talk with. She is the woman that runs the chat room. Is a professor at Columbia University. She is she's actually a senior and she's doing a thesis and everything. And the room is awesome.
Nice.
It's awesome. Check it out. It's called The Darkest Hue. Okay? But with that, we're going to say goodnight. Stay safe. Stay
Yes.
dry. We love you. Thanks for being with us in the cafe.
Thank
And
you.
we'll